Welcome to the Don't Die Rusty podcast. I'm Rick Hansen, and we will be talking about living, not dying. We're all on this adventure together, and we will be interviewing people who inspire us to live our best lives. People with various backgrounds who will walk us down the trails they took to not die rusty. Adventure in life are many things to many people. It could be a sprint or an endurance race, but with each adventure, we become a better version of us. We hope you keep chasing those dreams, being the best you, and of course, don't die rusty. Hello, Don't Die Rusty Nation. We are here tonight with, I don't know how to explain Joyce Benbrook. She's from Western Montana. I met her on a mountain. She was behind us, and then she got ahead of us because they were hauling butt down the mountain, and she was giving us crap. And I thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And then we became friends, and that's if we stay in touch and then follow each other on social media,
Mhm.
and it's been quite interesting. I'm feel lucky that you came up behind us, and then we got to know each other.
Yeah, I feel the same way, Rick, and I think we've had this conversation, but I have a strong belief in destiny and God having a part of your destiny. And I really believe for whatever reason he put us together on that mountain. Maybe I think he sees your path ahead of you and you don't see your path. So I've had a long path since that time that we
Y-
crossed on the mountain. And I really believe that a part of that was you and this guy Rick are gonna your paths are gonna cross again in a
well,
positive
that's
way.
good.
So
I don't know if you want to introduce yourself. I forgot to do that. I mean, I really don't know how to introduce you. But it, you know, if you want to just tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we'll have a little conversation.
yeah, sure. So I'm Joyce Benbrook. Like you said, I'm originally from the Ozarks. I lived most of my life in the Ozarks. That's where you hear the twang, and also where you get the outrageous personality, I think. But I moved to Montana about 11 years ago. Um, it I came up for a visit. I'll just make it a short story. I came up for a visit, someone that I knew lived here, fell in love with the person who lived here and Montana itself. So I came back for a couple of visits, and then after I think my third visit, I thought it's for me. I'm taking a chance. So packed up the car, kissed the my kids are all grown, but kissed them all goodbye and said, and off I went. I'm pretty sure they thought I was crazy. But we've lived an adventurous life to that point with my kids, so I think they kind of weren't shocked that I was gonna, pull a stunt like that. So I've been here 11 years. It's been fabulous. I miss the Ozarks. I miss my kids and grandkids, but I get to go home pretty regularly, so that's great. Social media keeps you in contact too, which is nice. But yeah, I got here. I fell in love with the outdoors in Montana. Like you said, we met on the Total Archery Challenge, and my husband, now husband, actually got me into shooting a bow. And we've had a lot of, I'm going to just admit it, cuss fights, trying to teach me to shoot the bow, and me being a little bit stubborn about it, and him having a lot more knowledge than me, and me really not liking it. But we got through it. And so he talked me into tack, and honestly, the first couple of tacks that I went to, I think I left in tears. I don't know how many arrows I lost, but I made whoever makes arrows a fortune. And I just kept digging in, digging in, digging in until I learned it. And um, so it's been great. And the people I met on the mountain were just like you, and others that I've met have been just fabulous. And I've kept in contact with a lot of them. So it's been really good, really fun. And it's a fun hobby to have, an expensive hobby to have, but it's a fun hobby to have. I started actually like hunting with my bow a little bit, and that's been a lot of fun. And then I kind of had some health issues, and then we'll talk about that. But it kind of slowed down the bow shooting a little bit. But I'm trying to work my way back into
Well, I
it.
love hearing that. I mean, I and the other funny thing is, you being from Arkansas, and then I told you I was a Florida State fan. That just really helped us solidify this relationship with each other because we could give each other SEC and ACC crap but but the one thing about
Right.
both our teams this year, they both
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah, so we're on the same page. It's been hard to watch, but we've had more seasons than this one that's been hard to watch. So almost gotten got used to it. But yeah, I remember coming down the mountain, running onto your team there, and jokingly teasing you that I was a
Yep.
pro shooter. And as luck would have it, I nailed that target, and it was clearly the work of God because it was a long shot. And I remember turning around and telling you uh, I would
That you
autograph
did,
your hat
exactly.
with a Sharpie. And that was kind of the takeoff from it. And I met some other
Yeah.
great people on your team there too that were really a lot of fun. And yeah, so it that whole thing worked out really well. And like I said before, I think that God puts people in your path that you need. And I think, unfortunately for you, he put you in my
Well,
path.
it's been fun, and then I love if you guys follow. I mean, I like your Instagram, Joy sees the world. That's just awesome.
Yeah, my world is even though it says world, it's kind of an arrow picture there. Probably it's Montana and Arkansas mostly, um, but we enjoy every minute of the day together and the stuff that we get to do in Montana and in Arkansas. So it's nice to get to go back and forth. We've got property there that we enjoy, and of course we've got actually my stepdaughter, who was born and raised here in Montana, just recently moved to Arkansas too. So now we have all four
Really?
kids there. So when we go back, it's great. We have we all get together, 8 grandkids there. So a lot going on.
Well,
So
and
it's great.
I think I will go into like so. Was it a whim just to go to Montana and see your husband? I mean, future husband, not knowing it was your future husband?
Yeah, it really was kind of it. We've known each other for a long time. We grew up in the same small town in Arkansas, but he's been in Montana since he was, I think, 17. And we just kind of reconnected on a social media page. And then he kept showing me all these beautiful pictures. And so I just kind of got on a plane and he was like, well, you can stay here for a while and visit and see what you think. And so I loved it. Stayed for a while. I went back to what felt like at the time mundane Arkansas. So um, so it wasn't that hard to lure me away at the time, and now I really enjoy the Ozarks and Montana both. It's really absence makes the heart grow fonder kind of thing. So going back to the Ozarks now is really it's really fabulous. But I still love it here, and the fishing is incredible. And if you follow my page on Instagram, see a lot of
Yep.
pictures of fish. I see a lot of pictures of
Yeah.
animals. So
But
I
I
really
see a
enjoy
lot of
it.
pictures of adventures too. Not just it's fun to
Hmm.
see you guys are always seem to be doing something out in the wild.
Yeah, but we have that in common. We love to be outside. We're outside people. For sure. I've always been an outside person, even in the Ozarks. I was dragging the kids on, this hike and that hike, and my oldest son. I had my kids pretty young, so my oldest son, I've asked him before, do you feel like you were cheated out of a grown-up mom,
Mm.
having me? And he said, "Oh gosh, no. A grown-up mom wouldn't have been fun." Because we would go start out trying to go to the grocery store, end up climbing a mountain, forgetting about what we were doing. So, he's like, I'm actually I really appreciate having a mom that had a sense of adventure. So that was good. So I've had that all along, and so coming here and having so much public land to use in Montana really kind of fits into that for me. And like you say, we do a lot of hikes, we do a lot of fishing trips. Ice fishing season's coming up soon. I've been like I said, had some health issues, so some of that over the last couple years has kind of been scaled back, and I'm hoping to have a little better
Well, I
season
hope
this
you
year.
do, because it's so fun. It's so fun to see, you know, and I, it's funny about social media because it's like if you, if some people, it's funny, they say that they have to get off it or they have to do this and that because of all the negativity, but that's who you follow. And I follow you and I follow positive people. So I guess I don't get down because I see all this negative because I don't need to see the drama of other people's lives. But so it's so fun to see you going on an adventure in western Montana and I'm going, I need to get up in that area sometime, you know,
Well,
and
yeah,
and then I see other people that I follow, like we were talking earlier. I'm gonna be heading down on Friday to Key West to get on a boat that's going to sail around the world, and it it's just so
that's
fun to see different things. And I think people need to realize that this is a big old world, and there's a lot of positive people out there, and that's why I like watching what you're doing too. You know.
yeah, yeah, that's how I feel about, what you've got going on here, Rick, too. I have a long list of friends on different social medias, but a lot of them I don't follow because once I start seeing a lot of negativity, a lot of political stuff, I just kind of, not for me. Life is short, and I just feel like if you don't enjoy life, what are you doing? Like, I mean, try to find your joy in whatever's going on. And, there's joy in everything. When I got diagnosed in January of 2024 with breast cancer, you would think that would be the lowest of the low, point in someone's life. But I almost look at it as a gift to me. Um, not to get too emotional about it, but it really does give you it gives you a lot of strength. So I think about what I lost through cancer, and don't get me wrong, there's a list of things that I've lost, but there's a list of things that I've gained. And one thing is strength, one thing is a joy for life. Maybe I already had the joy for life, but it really magnified it. It really made me clear out the cobwebs of what was going on and the noise that goes on around you, and focus on what's important, your family, all of that stuff, with the positive things that you have going on in your life, and you really try to focus in on it. And I just, I don't like negativity, period. I never really have. I've always been, I think my name Joy, kind of, maybe it's psychological, I don't know, but I just feel like if um if you're happy, it's kind of like the red car theory, you know if you're looking for a red car, you're always going to find a red
Hmm.
car. You see them everywhere. But if you're, and so if you're looking for joy, if you're looking for happiness, you're going to find it everywhere. It just shows up. You attract it. And I know people who say, "Oh man, you're lucky," or how I, things don't go well for me. Look for the red car. It's out there.
And I truly believe that because I mean, I think when you go through, like, I mean, I've learned that myself is when earlier in my life when things were like something went wrong and you keep on thinking negative, now the next thing's going to go wrong and then the next thing's going to go wrong. But if you think positive
Hmm.
about the situation and you keep, and I'm not saying things don't go wrong in life, but if you, it's just not
For sure.
it's not
Yeah.
a big old deal anymore, you know. It's like we're going to get past this and we're going to keep on moving and we're going to see what happens and that certainly helped me out. So we might as well, you talked
Hmm.
about it and we can talk about other things, but you in 24, it was 24 that you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
Yes. I was diagnosed in January of 2024. I had a mastectomy on Valentine's Day, 2024, 2 weeks later after my diagnosis. And it was really, that whole, honestly, it's almost a blur. It's almost like you take yourself out of the actual situation and you're watching someone else in this situation because it wasn't anything I expected. Also, because I've I've lived a
Mhm.
fairly healthy lifestyle, so you don't really think about what could happen to, it's like they say, like, you're other people. You say it happens to other people. We're all other people. So, and yeah, on February the 14th, I had a mastectomy and I was set to start cancer treatments shortly after, as soon as I started to heal. Well, on March the 21st of that year, my dad passed away. So I had to fly to Arkansas to help plan the funeral and stuff. And I was very close with my dad. So it was heartbreak. I think that was even more heartbreaking, honestly, than the cancer. And then a week after his funeral, no, I'm sorry, the day after his funeral, I tripped and fell on a hike with my grandkids and broke my ribs. So when I started radiation, I was starting it when I got back to Montana with broken ribs and a broken spirit, honestly, to tell you the truth. Like, it's, yes, I'm positive, but something flies at you like that. And it was definitely, I fell. I mean, I fell hard into, a lot of pain and misery, but I tried to stay positive through the whole thing. I think I did a pretty good job of it. I had 6 really harsh weeks of radiation treatment and a long climb back from there. And it just feels like, too, every medication that they give you leads you to this other problem. And then they have a medication for that problem that leads you to this problem. And I've kind of been on that little bit of a spinning wheel. But I feel like it's all going to work out in the end. I also feel like I've lived a
Yeah.
really good life. So I feel like my destiny is preordained and it'll be fine either way. But I also think that, like I say, I have faith in God and I have faith in, you know, I'm going to be fine. I just know it. I feel like I have this little hashtag, God's favorite child,
Hmm.
and I use it a lot. And some people say that sounds really vain, and I'm like, we're all God's favorite child. Every one of us is God's favorite child. I'm not just saying that about me. You're God's favorite child. And so I think if you have that mindset and you're like, I'm his favorite child. So this is all going to be fine.
Well, I mean, I didn't realize it was. I thought it was even longer ago. But it's interesting because I watched what you posted about this stuff and going through the stuff that you did, and you know, I was going, Joyce is, I, and I understand we don't put on everything, but I'm going, Joyce is this is like heartbreaking, but the strength that you had was amazing to see you pulling through because I just saw your faith in some of your posts. I saw your positivity, and I mean, I kept on going, what can I do for you? I mean, it just kind of kept on going on and on and on.
Well, you sent me those gifts in the mail, and it really lifted my spirits, honestly. I'm like, this was actually, I think, one of the points in my life where I thought God had this preordained
Hmm.
for the two of us. And that little, even though it maybe seemed like a small gesture to you, it was a big thing to me because you sent that to me, a gift, and I have your little sticker on my luggage and it goes with me everywhere. And I think it's just a testament to, um, living your life. I, I love your little start of things of, we're not talking about dying,
Yeah,
we're talking about living. And so I mean, we're all going to die. I'm going to die. You're going to die. I mean, it's going to happen. Um, so I think we focus on living, and that's what I'm trying
and
to
I
do.
see that, and like we were talking earlier, all the adventures of life and all uh, you know, if we can fill ourselves with more people like, and I'm not saying like us, but I'm saying like us, that that that's that understand that you can be you. I know I keep on going back to this, but you can be look at all the things that are going wrong, or you can look at all the things that are going right, and sometimes when things go wrong, they're actually
Mhm.
going right because they're teaching you something. You know.
Yeah, I truly believe that with all my heart that trials and tribulations are, like what is that saying? If you pray for strength, does God give you strength, or does he give you an
Mhm.
opportunity to be strong? I've kind of stopped praying for strength, because I think I've had the opportunity to
Yes.
be strong. So I kind of I believe that honestly. I believe that you get what you pray for, and and I've prayed for strength, and I think I'm a stronger person now than I was, let's say December of
Yeah.
2023. You know, I think happened
And and it
quickly.
and it and it's funny how that does happen. I've went through my mom dying, and we were close, and I understand
Hmm.
somewhat similarly your dad, and those things really
Yeah,
hit hard in the fact that I was thinking about this the other day, is that we don't think about these. We think sometimes, I don't think, I'm not saying we think about this that they're going to live forever, but I think we don't see anybody going away, we'll just say, maybe, you know what I mean, in that aspect. And then when reality happens,
yeah,
then you feel like there's an emptiness, there's a void, because you cannot make that phone call anymore, or you cannot. And that really got me thinking about living
yeah,
more. I'm not saying because I called my mom every morning. Most people know on this, but I'm saying that when you can't make that phone call, when nobody's on the other end, you start learning to have better relationships. I think I learned to have better relationships with God and with the people around me that really care. And
yeah.
I don't know if that's happened to you, but it
I,
certainly happened to me.
I think that that's true, and you never really prepare for this loss. It doesn't matter if, like, my dad, he had congestive heart failure. I knew this was going to happen. He knew it was going to happen. We talked every day pretty much. And my last conversation with him was the night before he passed away. And he was concerned about my cancer diagnosis and what my next step was going to be. Because, we were both scared of the chemo and stuff. So I think I- as prepared as you think you are to lose this person that's your biggest fan, you know, I- there's no doubt he was my biggest fan, but he was my biggest fan for,
Hmm.
53 years. So it's hard to lose your biggest fan. I always say that because
Yep.
your mom, your mom
Yep.
was your biggest fan. And so when you lose that, it's a big loss. And it doesn't matter how you think you're prepared for the loss. It really doesn't change things when it goes on. And there's still times when I'm like, wonder why I haven't heard from my dad. It'll just click, and I'm like, what? And then I'm like, oh, and especially when I fly home to Arkansas, when I get off the plane or I have a layover, and I'm like, wonder why he's not.
Yep.
For a second, I'm like, what? Wonder why he's not calling, or why I haven't heard, and then it dawns on me again, So it's I think it's a process that goes on for a long
I do
time.
too. I mean, it's kind of like deja vu for me at times. There's certain times where I've had dreams and I come back and I go, it's like I had a voice from my mom or something at that one place. And it's funny
Uh-huh.
because it's
Yeah.
not like I'm up in the woods and it's like I've been to this place, but it's like somebody called me. You know what it's just one of those funny things. It's like, hmm, that memory just strikes you, like you said. And or that phone call,
It-
like when you drive home, and for me, was a little over 4 hours away from my mom and dad's house, and sometimes even on the way home, it was like she'd call and say, how's the drive going, or this and that, and want to make sure you're getting home even
Yeah.
though you're 50 years old. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for sure, when you get
Yeah.
home, you got to call and say, I made it home, and it's good. But for you, unlike me, you were going through two hard things for sure at the same time, and that that takes a lot of strength, Joyce.
It does, but at the same time, I think about it and it's almost a blur. When I look back, I'm like, well, did that even even like I think about my radiation treatments and I'm like, did that happen to me? And it gave me a lot of strength. I think the whole situation gave me a lot of strength. And so I had a procedure done
Mm-hmm.
yesterday. I think I told you. And I have a neuropathy in my left arm, probably from my reconstruction surgery, is what they're thinking, or from the radiation treatments that I've had. So they actually go into your neck with a needle and try to like whatever with the nerve and stuff. And you would think after, the last almost 2 years of what I've been through that that would feel like, old hat. But honestly, I was thinking about this too. I'm like, it really hasn't kept my anxiety down about a procedure. I still was like super anxious going in. But at the same time, other things that matter less, that I figured out what matters less, I guess I'll say. You go through life and you stumble and you fall and it used to be that maybe you worried a little bit about stumbling and falling, and I think I worry a lot less about that now. Yeah, for
And
sure.
and that's a good way to say it. And I mean, that's about life too, you know. I mean, I worry less about stumbling
Hmm.
and more about like catching myself cuz and keep on moving on because there's little
Yeah.
things that just keep on, I mean, there's always going to be those little things. There's always going to be the little things. But it's
Hmm.
the big things that when you get by them, you know you've got by them. And
Yeah,
go ahead.
and it really is quite a sense of accomplishment once you get to the other side. Um, and maybe you're never all the way to the other side, but I don't know. I feel like I can compare a lot of things to what I went through back then, and I'm like, does it reach that level? No, it
Yeah.
doesn't. So I can jump this little
Yeah.
hurdle,
So
you know.
did I just remember us sitting around by the yurt there at Big Sky. Was that after or before you were diagnosed? It had to be before then, or was it?
It was before. I haven't been to attack since I've gone through this. It was actually in 2023, I think was the last tack that I went through. And then I had tickets for um,
Yeah.
2025 this year. They were going to be at Red Lodge. And so I actually bought the tickets because I'd gotten through all my treatments. Everything was going well. And so we actually bought tickets for Red Lodge and we even got our lodging and the whole thing. Well, I ended up getting approved for reconstruction in March. And so it was kind of a slot I didn't want to pass up on. So I, um, I did that instead. And I was afraid that I wasn't going to be healed up. And I wouldn't have been healed up enough, by June to have, shot a bow. And I really been, I had to lower my poundage down, which it's a little bit of a prideful thing when that happens. So I've had to lower poundage down,
Yeah.
substantially in order to pull it
Mm-hmm.
back. And I just hadn't practiced enough, and I just imagined what a disaster that mountain was going to be with me not being able to be accurate and not having any endurance. So we just kind of decided to not go this year, and I got graciously TAC gave me my money back when I explained it to him, so that was good. And then I got my money back for the hotel, but I'm kind of hoping next year's
Sure.
my year. I've been looking at the TAC online to see if Red Lodge is posted yet. It hasn't, but you know I really loved Big Sky, and I was a little bit let down that it was not going to be in Big Sky, but at the same time, I'm also interested in Red Lodge. I haven't been there. Did you go last year? And
No,
we talked about it.
I went out to California to Western States Endurance Race. Emily Hawgood, my good friend, and it was just it was quite an experience too. You should come to South Dakota. You have a place to stay. There's a cabin on the mountain. You think about
Oh,
that. We you I we
I
have
will.
room for you and everything else, but so think about Terry Peak. That's a fun one too, and it's only a little bit further.
I really want that. I have wanted to do Terry Peak since the beginning, and it's kind of been, our one of our bucket list things to do. And likewise, if you come to northwestern Montana, I have a spare room. I don't have a cabin, but I have a
Well,
spare room, and
well,
you're welcome
even
to
though we
it.
live in Spearfish, we stay on the mountain, so because it's closer, you don't have to get up and drive and do this and that. You can walk to the course. So anytime,
Mm.
I guarantee you that. So, but where I was going with this is it's fun that at Big Sky we were sitting outside the yurt, you and me and Cindy and Jesse were sitting around talking, and
Uh-huh.
it's fun for people to have good conversation in such a beautiful place. I mean,
That's
I
yes.
felt lucky, I mean, I feel bad that I didn't have a marker on the mountain so you could sign my cap. But the next
That
time
is a
I see
shame.
you, I'll have you sign it. But
Well, it could go, the price could go up from now. I mean, I don't know just how famous I'm going to be by then, Rick, but
well,
I'll
I
give it my
love
best
hearing
shot.
that cuz cuz it's what's fun for me and is because your husband was there when you were giving me shit. I mean, heck. but you know what I mean? I come home and I tell Cindy these stories. And I tell her about the people I meet because I don't think she was on the mountain that day. And because if she comes out, like when we do Big Sky, and if she came, she was usually on she'd go with us on Friday morning and then she'd stay and sleep in on Saturday morning. But telling her about people that I meet and telling her how good these people are. And this is what I mean, we were talking about this a while ago, but it's interesting that honestly have to say that when we talk, it's always about good people. We were talking about because I mean we're going to do this episode, and Cindy and I were talking about that conversation and getting to meet you and doing stuff up at Big Sky, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you
Yeah.
guys sitting around and chatting with us and just enjoying the day.
Yeah, I love to meet new people and I love to get acquainted with new people and I love to hear their story. Like, what's your story? How did you get here? Tell me what happened, and you're the same way. So I think we're kindred spirits like that. My youngest son and his wife got married on a destination wedding in St. John. And I remember when we landed meeting these people that were from the States that had gone there and just never left. They just never left. And I remember thinking, what's their story? Like, how did they get from there to here and why are they here? And so I kept asking, and like, what are you doing? Like, how did this happen? And those kind of things have always interested me. And it sounds like that, you're the same. And so when I met you, I remember having not a clue who you were or what was going on with you, but just really just, had a good time meeting on the mountain and your whole gang there. And I remember kind of basically pretending I was something that I wasn't a big bow shooter. But but God was looking out for me in that one shot and made it good. And so it, seemed legit at the time, but it
Well,
really wasn't.
I don't know.
Um,
I've never seen any other shot.
well, I've had some other good shots, but it was, it could have gone either way. But I remember, you were with some of the guys
Yeah,
from
Ashley.
Vapor Trail,
Yep.
and that are actually really good. good shooters. And I'm like, I didn't know that at the time. I'm just puffing myself up, and like I do sometimes. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh gosh, those were vapor trail shooters, and they are, probably thinking, what on earth? But
No,
I didn't really care. I was just having a good time
exactly.
with it, and I met a lot of great people on the mountain that year and every other year. As a matter of fact, the last time we went, when you're talking about us, the four of us chatting
Mhm.
at the yurt there, that year I had a flat tire on my car. We were pulling out of the hotel, and got a flat right there, and we're pulled over. We were stumbling around trying to figure out where's the spare, where's the jack. These kids came, and I can't remember. I think they're from Idaho. Completely surrounded the car, and we were like in a pit stop. They were jacking it up. They were changing the tire. They were putting, you know, literally what would have taken us an hour, they had it done in 10 minutes because they were like they had worked at Les Schwab or something. And so it's things like that. Like you're like, that doesn't happen everywhere you go. It happens with a group of people that are good to the core. And like those kids were, I don't know who they were. I still don't know who they were, but good to the core people, and I've met so many good to the core people through archery and through other things too. Like I'm a banker, and so I've met some really good people through banking. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. People hate bankers, but um, I've met, I've got some wonderful colleagues, and I've met some wonderful people along the way. I've got wonderful clients. So, I think goodness is where you see it, and I have enjoyed life to this point so much. So if it's shortened, I don't want that, but if it's shortened, I have absolutely lived in a fantastic life that I think a lot of people haven't, and it's because they haven't tried to.
Definitely, but you're not a lawyer, so you're not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends on what sector you're coming from. If you need a lawyer, if you need a lawyer, you
There you
want a
go.
mean one,
I
you know.
hear you.
So, but if you don't need one, and or someone else gets one, and they have a mean one, then it's, but
No, but no, you chase life and you beat cancer and you find love and go on adventures. This, how can you beat that?
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine is even with trials and tribulations, I cannot imagine wanting to be someone else or somewhere else or having a different path. I can't. The path that I've been on, I think, has been fabulous, and I think that I have had a great life, a wonderful life, wonderful children, wonderful grandchildren. I've met so many people along the way that I'm in awe of. I'm like, wow, this person is so, and then you're like, what can I do to have, that kind of giving spirit? So then you try to, you try to work on yourself. And I think being honest with yourself and your shortcomings sometimes helps too, because you want to strive to be better than you are today. And I think in order to do that, you have to realize your
Well, I hear you.
shortcomings, and then you know,
I hear you there. That's for doggone sure.
yeah, And I remember when you asked me to do this podcast, I'm like, I don't know that I'm worthy of it because there's so many people way better than me, and definitely have done these fabulous things that are stand out, and I strive to be that way, but I have shortcomings too, so it's nice to be included in the group.
Well, I mean, we all have shortcomings. We all have a past. We all have whatever, but it's how we've grown and how we find our faith, and it's how we find ourselves at the same time, I think. You know,
I think so too. Yeah, I think other people that you meet kind of help you find yourself a little bit. I think you start out who you are, and then I think you let the world change you sometimes and jade you a little bit. And then the last part of your life, which I think, where I'm in the latter part, but I think you figure out who you were meant to be all along, and that's kind of what you work towards. What was I meant to be all along, And
Yeah.
I don't mean career wise, but what kind of person was I meant to be, and how can I get there from here, and what can I do to change and improve to make that a reality, you know? So I think I'm evolving. I think we're all evolving, and yeah, just I'm happy to have the time to do it, and I'm so thrilled to have the kind of life that allows for it, Um, like I say, that the great outdoors is all around me, and there's so much to do and so much fun to have, and I've got such a great family, and so a great group of coworkers, and so I really feel extremely fortunate.
Well, Ashley and I did a episode, and I said you're going to get people these days are getting the best version of me because I I went through some different stuff, not what you've gone through, but some different stuff. And I said, because when you find yourself, everybody's going to get the better version of me because I'm not trying to be a chameleon. I'm being authentic Rick. This is who you get. And I'm lucky enough because in my earlier days, I probably changed for a person or I did things that wasn't really how I felt. But Cindy gets Rick and maybe some days she doesn't like that person, but you get who I am, and you get, and I think that's why I like you because we get Joyce, the authentic person.
Yeah, you do. You get the authentic Joyce for sure. But I haven't always, I mean, I have definitely evolved. I remember being painfully shy when I was a kid, and um, you know, having to work through a lot of those, like self-doubt and stuff like that. And then I don't know really what happened. I don't know that there was a particular click or there was a particular moment in time that changed. Maybe it was gradual, but eventually I just like, you know what? I don't care. I want people to like me for sure. Everyone wants that, but at the same time, like if they don't, they don't, and my self-doubt just faded away over time. And I'm not a great public speaker. I still get a little nervous about that stuff, but at the same time, like if someone's in the crowd and I'm having to do a public speech of some kind, I don't focus on is this person critiquing my every move anymore. I being from the South and coming to the North and having to like talk in public, I know my twang is coming through, and I know there's giggles, and I know there's a snicker out there, and I just,
Well,
I
I
just
would.
roll with it. I don't, I don't let it bother me anymore. And it used to, I would say, I'm going to say 30 years ago, it would have been something that it would have really, I don't know if I could have gotten over it.
Well, I agree with you because I'm about the same way in the aspect that I think we're relatively close in age, so I just stopped caring. Not like you said, it's not like I don't care if people like me or not. It's just that I stopped caring in the aspect that, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and I'm going to try to be the best person I can be. But you know, I admit that I screw up, so you're just going to get this person. And if you like me, you like me, and if you don't, you don't, and
Hmm.
that's the way it is. And I don't give a darn if you don't anymore, really.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. And I used to get a little offended, honestly, when, you know, a mistake of mine was pointed out. I'd be like, I get a little defensive. Now I'm like, I own it, I own it. Guess what? I messed that up, and I think it really, turning 50 was liberating. Let me tell you, when I was like 30, I was not the person I am now. And I remember being self-conscious and, being shy. And I felt like somewhere around 45, I guess, it started to change more. And then by the time I hit 50, I'm like, you know what? I am what I am. And it's great if people like me, but if they don't, I guess I'm okay with that too,
Well, that I do
you
know
know?
that. So it's cool too. So I, I I mean I go all over the board here, and I got thinking about this. How did your kids? I know I'm going way off the board here, but how did your kids like? What'd they think when you moved to Montana?
Well, they thought I was crazy. They, a lot of caution, Mom, you don't know what you're doing. Mom, you just calm down, just settle down for a minute, just think this through. And I'm like, no, I'm going. And then eventually it was a little bit of an acceptance. There was took a little time to get that accepted. I've been there with them, every step of the way. I put them through college. I was a single mom for a lot of their lives. So I was the mom and
Yeah.
dad often, So I think letting go of that version of me was hard for them. It was a little bit of a mourning because, honestly, when you are especially a single mom, single dad, single mom, you're kind of both to these kids. And even though they were 30 years old when I left, they it was hard for them to let go of that. It felt like a lifeline to them that they were losing. And so then I moved up here. There was a transitional period where it took a while, but we're back to, and have been for years, back to me still being their lifeline. I'm just at a little bit of a distance. So any issue or any problem, my daughter especially, she calls every day. You know what? I know her
Mm-hmm.
every move. And my sons maybe not as much, um, but at the same time, like the slightest um good news or bad news that either of them have, I know I'm the first one they're on the phone with. So we've worked through that transition. I think they'd still love to have me geographically closer, but they also love to visit Montana. So I think in some respects they're kind of like, stay where you're at so we can come and visit. So I think that it's been a trade-off. They've really enjoyed the time they got to come up here
Well,
too. So
I like hearing that because I mean that's just amazing. I mean, I don't have any kids, so sometimes I think about this stuff later in a conversation here. But I would say, especially your part of the Montana is awesome and amazingly beautiful. You know,
it's incredibly beautiful.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm closer to eastern Montana, which has its highlights too. But I'm just saying it's interesting the
Mhm.
the going. I would say going from Arkansas to up where you live is amazing. It would be quite a change too.
It is and it isn't. Though the weather is a change. They love to come in the summer because it's oppressively hot in the Ozarks, and but at the same time, I'm from the Ozarks, so we have hills and streams and mountains and lakes, and the landscape is similar to Montana. I think the great thing about Montana compared to Arkansas is the use of public land we have here. So I could take my kids all kinds of places when we're here. My oldest son loves to go on hikes. And when I recovered from cancer I took my last treatment May the 26th of 2024. And my son came up. He was itching to come during treatment, and I absolutely refused to have him here. But as soon as I recovered enough, I think it was in late June, early July, he flew in and stayed a week with me, and we hiked a 4 mile hike up the ski hill together. And it was my first real challenge since cancer treatment. And he was right by my side the whole time. And then the next day we did another challenging hike up. So there's like a strawberry lake hike that we do, and it's a pretty challenging hike. And we went up that the next day. And of course, he's like, I was worried about how well you're doing, and I can't keep up with you. So now I can go home and feel better about what's going on. And then he wanted to come like the next spring, and I was about to have reconstructive surgery. And I said, let's wait till I heal up from that. And I promise not to take you on any ridiculous hikes. And he said, he said, the ridiculous hikes is part of the reason I love to go. He said, no, you're gonna drag me to some ridiculous hike. So all of that stuff is really fun. He's my little hiking buddy when he comes, and he takes it like a champ. And and honestly, when you are coming from like a lower elevation, if you're to a higher elevation and then doing something strenuous, I understand how hard it is on him. I get it. But yeah, it's the use of the public land when they come. My youngest son, he likes to. There's the river here. He likes to take the raft down the river with the kids and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff to do here for them that they don't necessarily get
Hmm.
to do in Arkansas. So it in the summer it's too hot to hike in Arkansas. It is literally too hot. So you have to like spring and fall maybe, but summer you don't really do a lot of hiking there. But so yeah, they enjoy the switch off of coming here in the summer and then me coming there in the winter. And so it's actually we made the best of it. It's worked out really well.
And it's the memories that are made when you go on those hikes. And it's a converse. The best
Mm-hmm.
part about those things are the conversations you have, I think. Because when you're out,
Yeah,
there's no four
I think
walls
so.
around you. There's just you hiking and talking, and all kinds of things can pop into your head, or you might see something, or it's just those conversations that draw you closer to each other is what makes that's that's one of the things that why I love hiking. And it's also like I go by
Mm-hmm.
myself too, of course, but it's those things that pop into my head while I'm doing it too. It's amazing. And
It's almost a meditation, really.
yes. And the other thing that amazes me is when you say the public land, because I've had friends from like Tennessee and Kentucky, and they come out here and they say, "Well, we can go hunting there." Well, yeah, you can just get out of the pickup and go. And it's funny how people don't understand that out west, where there's a lot of places we can just get out of the pickup or whatever, and you don't have to be at a trailhead. This is public land. We can go walk our wherever we want to here, you know, and and it's freeing actually. It's like this is how it's supposed to be.
I know, and it was one of the things that drew me to Montana, and one of the things that kept me here, honestly. Just being able, like, they call it the world's biggest playground, and it really is. So, I was really surprised when I first came here going on a hike, just to, drive down this, and the amounts of dirt road here, you're just like, everywhere's a dirt road. And you drive along and you just like pull over and just go straight up a mountain. You can go hunt up there if you want. I mean, it's just amazing. And it is really freeing, and it's a lot different than where I came from. Now we do have the
Mm.
Ozark Forest there, and it is public land to use, and there's state land there too. I mean, there's a measure of it, but it's not like it is here for sure. It's everywhere here, and there's something new to see every time. Like there's so many different places to go, and I've been here 11 years, and I haven't even scraped the surface of what all there is to see and do here. So kind of looking forward to, you know, continuing that because, I don't know, we're all getting older, so like I want to enjoy my life, Rick, to the very fullest as long as I possibly can. And when I am long gone, I want my kids to say she did everything she could imagine doing. And I think that that's a good legacy
That
to
is a
leave.
great legacy to leave because I don't. That's where I want to live every day to the fullest that I can, and I just want to show people that they can do that and live their fullest life. And it's the big adventures to the little adventures. It's a 4 mile hike to a 20 mile hike or whatever that you can do.
Hmm.
And what I love, and I don't know about you, but what they were talking about, like in the Kentucky and the Tennessee areas where there is some public land, but not a lot. But it was the public
Hmm.
land is full of people. Where you're in Montana, I'm in South Dakota. Where we could go to Wyoming, whatever. We can go without seeing people too, and that's the best part to me.
You sure can. You sure can. I mean, some of the there's obviously the regular like Glacier Park. You go into Glacier Park, it's beautiful, but you're going to
Hmm.
see a lot of people. But I still love the hikes up there. There's just so much to see. It's so gorgeous, and I don't mind running into people there. I'm
Yeah.
expecting it because it's Glacier Park. But we have hunting there. Like we have certain hunting spots that we go to, and you don't see people, and you've got it to yourself. And also, people kind of have their own little sections of what they do and where they go, and they kind of stick with it. So, and like I say, I wouldn't even scratch the surface of what all there is to see and do here. So it's still a big adventure. I still sometimes wake up and go, "What? I'm in Montana. What happened?" You know. So, yeah, it's been it's been it's been a great adventure. I think my whole life has been kind of an adventure. I kind of lived it that way on purpose, but coming here has it's really been a lot of
Well,
fun.
like I said, I love seeing the adventures you go on your social media. It just makes me smile, and I like seeing some of your stories and some of your for sure your posts, and I think you know you keep life interesting, and that's what it's about.
I sure try. And likewise to you, Rick, I love watching your stuff too and seeing your hikes and seeing the time you spend with your dad has been really, interesting to me to watch and really heartwarming. So, and your friend Ashley, I like to watch the two of you together. It's just hilarious to me and through your little hunting episodes and whatnot you've got going.
Yeah,
So,
it's funny how that yeah, we it's funny, the funniest part with Ashley is us driving down the road and just things pop into our head and say, "Let's go do that." And there's no question. It's like, "Oh, I see that too," like so and it's fun that
yep.
Cindy and Jesse Ashley's husband Jesse s- just put up with us.
Well, they probably wouldn't want it any
No.
other way, is my
No.
guess.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm when we get to the end, you know what's going to happen here. When we get to the end of the episode, I ask the one last question. And I don't know if you prepared for this, but what's the good life to Joyce?
What's the
What's the
good
good
life of
life to Joyce?
Joyce?
What's your best life? Yeah.
What's a good life to Joyce? I think living like you said, your true self. It doesn't matter what your true self is. If you're living your true self and living the life that you envision for yourself, I think that's a good life. And we all don't have the same. We don't all have the same. So I think I'm living my best life.
I honestly think you are too, and I think you know I can see this. I, Not that we'd ever be in an old folks home, but I've certainly wanted to be in the one that you're in, so we can have funny conversations and drive the nurses crazy if that was what we were going to do.
I sure as hell hope you're cross the aisle. I'm gonna aggravate you to death, and then you're
Yeah,
gonna wish for sweet
I
death.
just thought I could see the nurses with that, that going crazy. I could see what the heck did we get into in this job?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We'd be mischievous. That's for dang sure. We're close to the same age, so it's a
Yeah.
possibility.
So, but it has to be somewhere pretty. I'll have to say that so I can at least look out the window. But that ain't gonna.
Yeah, and I don't know much about South
Well, you
Dakota.
should. Well,
I
you're
haven't
gonna
ever been
have to
there.
come here, and you're gonna have to go to TAC. And like I said, there's a room for you in the cabin, and you guys in the cabin, and come in and enjoy.
You
I
consider it on my
will.
list.
So, and it's funny too, because you said you didn't think you didn't think it would be so interesting, but you are very, very interesting. And I love having you as a
Well, I
guest.
appreciate you
Well, you
saying that.
are. And I really I really
Thanks,
truly
Rick.
appreciate you being here, and I hope we can do it some other time. We'll have some other fun conversations, and well, actually, I think we'll do it tack this year, coming at 2026. When you come to the cabin, we'll just do one in person.
Okay, I love it.
Maybe we'll get Ashley in there too.
Then maybe I won't have a. Oh, that'd be great. Well, hopefully that way I wouldn't have to be the one in charge of the tech because I
There you
fall
go.
short.
And I'll have a marker ready for you to sign my cap.
Love it.
Well,
Love
thank you
it.
so much, Joyce. And if you get a chance, follow Joyce Sees the World. And she is just a wonderful person, and I feel lucky to call her friend. And you keep
Thanks,
keep
Rick.
battling and keep being you.
I don't know any other way to
All
do
right.
it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Rick.
don't die, Rusty Nation. Of course, keep chasing your dreams, being the best you, and don't die rusty.